December of spring of 2002, we got open for full retail business, but we were doing like eBay sales about 4 years before that, leading up to the opening of the store. Yeah, I had another job working with airplanes, and this was just a hobby. You know, was collecting video games while I was traveling to different airports, going to different flea markets. So finally, the other business got to a point where I could afford to open invest in a nice video game store. And looking at all the other stores around the United States helped me design my store, how it was going to be run, and how we were going to have it laid out, focused on retro. So we've always had a good supply. I can see other stores not focusing on it, just kind of taking it as it comes in. Might think it's rarer than it actually is. Because they don't have a concept of the price of it, other than eBay stores, which are trying to sell it for $24.95 when it really has value of about $10 or $12. So the trends have pretty much stayed the same. Everybody wants Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Everybody wants Mario 2 and 3 on Nintendo. Everybody wants Super Mario All-Stars on Super Nintendo every time they come to buy a system. It's pretty much the same games, Donkey Kong Countries, but we try to have a selection of everything. That helps people kind of diversify, but they all start with the same games and the same reasons really why they want to have the system again. Even 64 is retro now, and everybody comes in to buy GoldenEye and Super Mario, and the Mario parties are still pretty popular. Just to have them again, we can't even keep those games on stock when people are going back to college. So the trends, and it's been the same for about the last 3 years. It's like the end of summer when kids are going back to starting college or going back to college, we run out of everything popular 64. And then they come back at Thanksgiving and buy the stuff we didn't have when they were going back. So it's pretty, that's the normal trend in the Midwest here anyways, in St. Louis. People really appreciate having a cart in their hand for $10 instead of a virtual console $7 or $10 download. So I don't think it's changed a whole lot. A lot of people really like having a Super Nintendo console right next to their 360 console, just because it is what it is, and everybody instantly notices what it is, and it's more popular once people come over and see it. So that the inventory doesn't get stolen, we have display boxes out. So every single box out here represents a game in stock. That way people can read about what the games are like on the vintage games. A lot of people have forgotten, and it makes it look a lot nicer than just a bunch of empty boxes. And we pretty much do that with every single platform. This is pretty much where the focus is on the collector's cases. People walk into the store every time, because this is where we put some of our most popular and some of our rarest stuff out, and we have a lot of collectors coming to the store looking for vintage items, so they know to go right here. This is where you're going to find your Final Fantasies, your Final Fantasy 7 and 2 and 3, and your Zeldas and your hard-to-find fighters. And we try to keep this fresh, and our vintage wall of a mix of everything. Of course, the majority of it is original Nintendo NES. Everything that makes out on the floor the labels are in a higher grade condition. If they really get tore up or marked all up, we just kind of have them zeroed out and get out of here for real cheap for people. This little miscellaneous up top, Sega CD, Sega Master System. We actually keep our whole entire inventory is online with pictures, and we keep that inventory completely separate in our warehouse. So this is actually a lot of overstock for the retail store. If anybody comes in, they shop right online too, and we just go pull it. It's all handy. We used to have 64 on the floor inside in the display boxes also, but we just ran out of room with all the new platforms are out. So now 64 gets its glass display case. We have all the new accessories, for all the new DS's, Xbox 360, anything you would need, component cable hookups. We try to focus on just low price hookups for all the newer systems. So we carry, Sega Master System 1, hookups, and Dreamcast AV hookups still, and a lot of the hard to find parts, that there's no other stores. You're not going to find at your new modern game stores. We keep all our systems They come in used. We thoroughly test them. Every button controller, we thoroughly clean them, and then we shrink wrap them, and keeps it all bundled nice together. New modern systems, Game Boy. We still keep all the old Game Boy Color, black and white. We let people try any game out that they want to buy, especially on the handhelds, because you can't tell much by those labels. This is where we process everything and gets traded in. We have systems hooked up to test all the controllers that get traded in. Since all of our merchandise our disc merchandise is empty, we keep all of our CDs behind the counter. And then I guess from the quick view of your camera, we have lots of knickknacks everywhere, hiding in the rafters, basically, is what I call it. We don't really sell the items, like Mario plush toys and Sonic dolls and all that. We just have them here for fun, to give kind of like a neat atmosphere for the store, and with all the old vintage signs and neat items like that. We don't really have much in our new expanded room, but we do have all of our statues and stuff of Mario and Star Fox, and there's a Tails hiding over here in the corner, and we're going to be working on developing this room that maybe as a vintage room real soon. Some of our pop kiosks in there. Just some fun items. And of course we always have the dump bin of kind of like the B grade inventory, all tested, working good, but it's $1. Not everything's $1, but it's all fairly inexpensive, just for the people who want to really bargain shop and dig a little bit. This is our overstock of Nintendo. Besides what's on the floor, we put 3 of each title out on the floor, and then this is our normal inventory of Super. So if the display box is out there, this is where we come pull the inventory from. We don't even have room for this much Atari on the floor. Our demand is fairly stable, but this works good. And like I said, we keep most of the stuff on the website now for everybody, so that way they can just see it all and see the condition of the labels. More out of stock display boxes. And then this is where we keep everything at tradinggames.com. This is the complete store inventory that's online. We're working on item number 16,000 now, this summer of 2010, and that's unique items, all with their own unique item number. And that's not 10 of Mario Brothers, that's one Mario Brothers, one item number. So we start selling just boxes for Nintendo games if somebody needs just a box. We start selling completes, where you get the box, cart, manual, sleeve, styrofoam. And then we also sell just original Nintendo games, just cartridge only. And then we even have boxes full of manuals for anybody that needs manuals. And we sell all those items individually, and we really break it down like that for every single platform. So we got just boxes. We have, these are all systems that are in stock, completes, boxes, a little bit overstock on the floor. And then we put PS1. Here's more just boxes for Sega Genesis, completes for Sega Genesis. Of course, we have manuals over here and carts over there. This is where my internet guy, he just spends all day. We actually take pictures of every single item that comes in. So this is new merchandise that arrived in the last couple days. Some newer items, we're just going to have these up. But vintage items, we actually take a picture of every single one before we list it. That way you can see the condition and of the item, and you shop by picture on the website instead of just a bunch of text. And that, when I started developing the website, was the most important thing of the website. Just Game Boy games, and this is our shipping counter where we ship everything. We put our invoices over there, start pulling and start packing, bubble wrapping. Everything gets a box, everything's bubble wrapped securely, taped good. We really don't hold back on packaging well, because the game that gets traded into the store has a quick whirl, pretty much regardless, on our CD resurfacing machine. We just use like fresh pads. We try not to contaminate them. We use soft clean. This is our dirty one, but we always have non-contaminated towels, microfiber towels for buffing them off, and it puts a nice clean coating on each disc to resist fingerprints and smearing and smudges. And And then we also do heavy resurfacing where you got to take a scratch off a game, and we do that service every day for people. And we do that on a lot of trade-ins if it's salvageable to resell. And for that reason, you know, having 1 or 2 games returned a month is pretty tolerable, and we don't have to deal with that every day of having stuff returned. And then that goes to everything on the website. It's exceptional for a CD game on the website, or we don't sell it on the website. That way I actually get 0 returns for website-based, CD-based games that we sell. So helps out a lot, having a good machine for doing it and knowing how to do it correctly also. That's been a big goal of mine from opening the store, was just a complete, true video game store with lots of variety, lots of variation for people to choose from. So, you know, having 400 different titles for Nintendo in stock and Super Nintendo and that many on Genesis and stuff, we have a big selection for everybody to come in. But the selection is there. It's about 50-50, but the sales-wise, well, you know, it's almost identical too. It's 50-50. Some people only use the store for new, you know, PS3, 360, PS2, Game Boy, and then a large selection of the store customer base now only use it for vintage. But those people play new games too, so they'll come and buy $100 in Nintendo, Super Nintendo games, and they'll pick up a new 360 game because it's inexpensive now. Where we get a lot of stuff from is, you know, mainly 80% of it's from people bringing it into the store. I've sold a lot of really unique vintage items, and 5-6 years they're out of the hobby, and I've got a lot of it back now. You know, from the same people I sold to. They know I'll buy it back again, make money on it, you know, again, and they're happy, I'm happy, and my future customers who buy it are happy. There's been collections from collectors, you know, where I've gone over to their house, you know, and purchased big collections, many of those. Unfortunately, you know, the industry, I've got a lot of stuff from stores that have actually closed down, and I've really gone in and really kind of cleared them out of the stuff that they thought wasn't sellable, and, you know, some of it I got a good deal on, and others I've had to eat, you know, unfortunately. But, you know, display boxes from stores that used to do display boxes, you know, that kind of stuff. But eventually stuff like this is just going to go away. It's not going to come in fast enough for it to be replenished, and so, you know, I might have to start hunting it down online, but then I think my prices will have to go up. But I guess that's the whole future of it, you know. Might have to pay more for it to sell it. I got some really awesome little kids that love Nintendo and Sega Genesis, Super Nintendo. I'm talking 9-10-year-olds that really appreciate the old games, and they're a little overexcited about stuff sometimes because they just don't know. But that's my future customer base, of course, you know, who will keep growing this hobby. But generally, the collectors kind of go with, if they were, you know, 10 to 16 years old when the system was out, that's pretty much what they're coming back to now. So if my Nintendo guys tend to be in their mid-20s and up, and my Atari guys tend to be their 30s and up. And but it varies. It varies on who the collectors are. I'm more excited about these young kids that are really into it. They are generally excited about Burger Time on Nintendo and Rampage on Nintendo, and we get a kick out of it. We have a lot of fun with them, and they call all the time, ask if we got anything new in, and I'm like, well, that's kind of hard to point out what we got in new, but, you know, they come down and they enjoy, you know, spending their $10 allowance and getting a game or two, and none of them really sold it back. They've all just bought. They have their little shrine of 80 games that they own, and they just kind of go after one thing and they move on to the next. It's a lot of fun.